are talking Gargoyle, also known as Gargoyle's Revenge, also known as Wings of Darkness. This one directed by legendary B-movie director Jim Wynorski and stars Michael Paré and one-time Sonya Blade Sandra Hess. So they play a couple of CIA agents who are in Romania on an unrelated gargoyle mission, something to do with a kidnapping. However, there is an earthquake and this ancient gargoyle was released from its tomb and terrorizes the people of Bucharest, and it is up to the two CIA agents along with another American kind of archaeologist, I suppose, and I don't know, a couple of other people as well, to try and put a stop to this terrifying gargoyle menace. So, first of all, what works with this film? This is pure cheesy B-movie hokum. I actually quite like gargoyles as a subject matter. I've always been fascinated with them up from when I was a little boy, and I kind of wish there were more gargoyle-based movies. There is a few, but there's really not that many. I actually quite like Michael Paré in this role, although he's just like a very cheesy, quite unprofessional, if I'm honest, CIA agent. There's a couple of standout scenes for me here. There's a scene where this gargoyle attacks this kind of Ferris wheel, and this little boy who's sat next to this guy, the guy gets killed. I actually thought it was a great because he looks genuinely terrified. I thought that was kind of quite fun. The design of the gargoyle, in theory, is quite cool. Put a pin in that, we'll come on to that again. The movie runs at a fair old pace. I actually enjoyed there's two priests that are in this movie, and I actually quite liked their interplay. Some scenes where they're kind of talking, and it's a little bit ambiguous as to, is one a good guy, is one a bad guy, because they both seem to have valid points, and obviously it'll be revealed, but I actually thought those two actors did a great job of their scenes together, and there's kind of like you know, there's a little bit of mystery about it, maybe who's kind of the shady one and who isn't. There's quite a big action set piece in it, and the movie really does homage Aliens, of all things. There's scenes where this gargoyle is kind of laying eggs under the ground that'll be very reminiscent of the movie Aliens, even down to the kind of a flamethrower trying to destroy the eggs and things like that, and all the kind of the little gargoyles running around, whilst this big one, the queen one, I suppose, is the one to beat. Okay, so what doesn't work? Okay, the big one. I kind of like the design of the gargoyle, but the execution of it is very, very early 2000s bad CGI. This gargoyle is pure CGI and literally looks like it's jumped out of a PlayStation 2 game. And it has not aged well, and I can't even imagine this movie was particularly great graphically in its time. The movie is horrible, and it stands out in regards to real bad special effects. This thing looks like a computer game character. It is bad. It also isn't particularly well integrated with the kind of the live action footage where, you know, people are kind of shooting at it and stuff like that. It doesn't really look like they're ever really shooting at anything specific. So I don't think it is particularly well kind of mashed in with the obviously the live action footage here. This movie has a very rushed feel to it, and it just feels like plot points are just kind of like brushed through. The end climax is very anticlimactic, I have to say. I thought, is that it? I was expecting a little bit more of a kind of a fight from our CIA agents here, and there seems to be an amount of pointless characters. Even Sandra Hess, who is the kind of like the partner, has nothing to do, and she's only there to have a somewhat of a recognisable B-movie actress name, but her character literally does not do anything in the movie itself. There's a subplot involving a apparent descendant of Vlad Dracula who is involved in this gang war, and that is just kind of, that plot point just seems to be dropped. I actually quite like that, to be honest. The guy was actually quite an interesting character, but then his kind of plot point is just dropped. It's just very silly. I mean, the CIA getting involved in this to begin with, obviously kind of ridiculous. All of the major characters are American, despite the fact that this is taking place in Romania, stuff like that. It's just cheesy, but it is a little bit of fun. I'll say that. Can I say this is a good movie? No. Is it a fun movie? To a point. I would give this one a 4 out of 10. Have you seen it? What did you think of it? Leave me a comment and I'll look forward to seeing you next time. Bye for now.